And I think it's a perfect time to segue into our first little segment here, Bourbon Bros. It's a little play on Beer Bros. One of the a wannabe critic, production. So for you video watchers, see that white substance all around the glass? That's ice that's collected around my mug here, my goblet. I am enjoying. It's not bourbon, so it's actually technically cheating. But this is a Stranahans. Have you ever had Stranahans, Ethan?
I have not, no.
So it's Colorado whiskey. I actually took a picture of it because I didn't want to bring the bottle in to my studio here. So here is what it's called. It's Stranahans. It says the oldest Colorado whiskey. Did I freeze? Or dude, you were like still like a statue.
No, I'm wanting to know where this distillery is, what they're doing over
there.
The
oldest Colorado whiskey, Stranahans Distillery, was the first in Colorado since Prohibition, and we still take our single malt just as seriously as we did in our early days, using only Rocky Mountain grain and water. It is a refined, complex, and bold, is what it says. It's original single malt whiskey. Handcrafted at high altitude, elevation 5,280 feet. Our original whiskey recipe uses 100% malted barley and pristine Rocky Mountain water, double distilled in small copper stills, and we let it rest in virgin American oak casks. Now, I bought a bottle because I was so excited for this project. I was like, I'm going to go and buy myself a nice bottle of whiskey. And I went there, and it was the only bottle left on the shelf. It wasn't that expensive. It was like $60. That's like right in the middle. It's not like high tier, but it's not like, low tier. It's just like a solid, like that's going to be, you would hope that would be like a solid whiskey. And I wasn't disappointed. I mean, it is just like caramel all across the board. It is so good.
It's got to be smooth.
I'm so good. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Where is the distillery located? Does it say?
Colorado.
Well, I mean, in what town? It's got to be Denver.
I think it is Denver, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't take a picture.
I have a little experience with a Colorado whiskey. Law's Whiskey House is the distillery, and it's there around Denver. And I had a chance at a pub at a ski resort in which a Law's Whiskey House representative was handing out free or allowing you to taste their product there. Which they have an excellent 4-grain whiskey that I highly recommend, and we'll probably have it on the show at some point. We'll get to that later. But he said that Colorado and in the Denver area, there is kind of a renaissance taking place as far as bourbon is concerned and whiskey making, because the way the weather changes at that elevation, it allows the whiskey that's sitting on the dregs in the casks. It changes the pressure inside at a faster rate than, closer to sea level and like out toward Kentucky and whatnot. So your bourbon, he said it's equivalent to if you let your whiskey rest in Kentucky for 7 years, that gives you an excellent whiskey. If you let your whiskey rest for 3.5 years at Denver elevation, it tastes like a 7-year whiskey.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's like science.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
cool.
Great.
That's cool. And
man,
that makes you wonder too, like with those honey barrels, what those honey barrels would taste like in that type of situation, And I have to say, it was one of those things, like I usually drink, I don't usually drink my whiskey with ice, to be honest with you. In fact, usually when I drink whiskey, I just have a little splash of water because I don't really like my whiskey cold, just a little splash. But I usually try it neat first, and then, a little splash of water afterwards, just because they say that opens up, the flavors a little bit. And I mean, it's smooth. There's no harshness to this whiskey whatsoever. It's just straight caramel the whole time. It's delicious.
Well, now I'm really regretting that we didn't do this in person. Because
I would have brought it. I would have brought it. It's going to happen. No, that's another thing I failed to mention too is, hopefully as long as this Delta COVID stuff slows down, hopefully we can record the next one in person, and recreate some of that old AOG magic, with a with the WBC feel. So
yeah, we'll take the temperature again in another few weeks.
Yeah,
see
what happens. See what happens. Yep. What are you drinking tonight?
All right, so I am approaching this show with a little bit of a different bend. Than the one you've taken. I have gone back to cheap whiskey and I'm going to start there and then progressively step myself up to as we discuss whatever we're drinking.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off really fast and just say, if you can't do what Ethan is doing right here and go back, because here's the deal. I got really nice whiskey in my cabinet. I also keep a bottle of Old Crow in my cabinet at all times. And if you can't enjoy Old Crow, leave. Get out. I don't want you listening to the show. You are part of the problem. Like, I'm sorry, but you are. So,
well, good night, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, the three of you that were listening. I don't. Someone's like, "Oh, that's swill," yada yada yada. I'm like, dude. It depends on what it's. There's no reason for that, and I guess
you have to walk before you can run.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you 80? Then I don't want to hear about anything because you don't know. You probably don't even know what you're talking about, honestly. So whatever. No. I'm sorry to cut you off. Mini rant, not holding back.
That's fine. That's fine. No. Yeah. Hey, you fire off whenever you feel like
I
it.
do hate my father.
Oh, Tony, don't be listening to this show.
He doesn't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So what I have picked up is at the $20 level. So because I'm not going to go, I mean, I will go, I'll do a black label Evan Williams if I feel like, I mean, it doesn't hurt me to do that. But I went for $20, 4Roses. And to be honest, I have never had 4Roses before. So no, and I'm trying it here. There's only a hint of gasoline. It's good. No, actually, I joke about the gasoline. It actually has a nice flavor to it. It's not as robust. It's not as smoky. There are better bourbons out there, of course. But for $20, I don't feel like I've been cheated, and so that's what I'm sipping on here. That's going to be my baseline. And, as we go along, I don't know if we're going to do ratings in the future or what we're going to do, but I am going to hold 4Roses as an entry level, and we'll just rate up and down from there.
I love that. That's a good comparison.
That's my approach here.
I think 4Roses too, like base 4Roses is just like, because there's a couple different tiers,
Yeah.
It's approachable,
and
it's just nice and mild,
Like in this area where we're at in Missouri, you can pick this up off the shelf at Walmart.
Yeah.
So do your grocery shopping, get you some 4Roses if you want to dabble in the whiskey, and we'll see where this takes us.
That's a good entry level. I'm appreciative. I'm so happy you brought your maturity to the show, Ethan. Well, whatever possessed you to check out any of the content that you saw today, I just want to say thank you so much for doing so. If you check the description down below, you'll see that there's a variety of different projects that I'm associated with. This is Wannabe Critic Productions after all. So I just wanted to say, if you enjoyed what you saw today, consider giving some of those other projects a chance as well. There's a lot of stuff that I'm a part of that that I do. If you were here for me or for someone else that you saw today, again, just thank you for checking it out, and I hope to see you again. But until next time, I'm Gabriel Fast, and I'll always be the Wannabe Critic.